Hi there, my name is Chris Hampton, co-founder here at Incite, and co-author of the Freedom Handbook, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. There's a free link to the book below. Just mention a word about it today. We've done that in other videos, and you can certainly find more about it if you'd like. One might say I'm a formidable Canadian, here living in Spain for the last 4 years, about 50, 100 yards from the Mediterranean Sea presently. What a beautiful sunny day it is. And I'm pleased to spend a little bit of time with you here as we just blow the advertising industry apart, revolutionize it together with inescapable new revolutionary progress that we're going to explore. But before we do that, I just thought I'd mention a couple of other things that might be of interest to you and a couple of caveats to prepare us for the conversation. Firstly, for anybody that's interested, there's two personal projects that I also have. One is a channel called Freeing Me. This channel, and these other two channels, Freeing Me, and I'm not sure the title of the personal political channel that I'll just put under my own YouTube identity, under my own name, just Christopher Hampton, or Chris, or Cristobal Miguel, here in Spain. But in any event, within the Freeing Me channel, which maybe I'll just bring up a quick picture of. Oh, look at that. There's something to think about, a favorite quote, personally, and in fact quite in line, because we discuss on the Freeing Me channel basically personal development and healing from past trauma. Which, I register an 8 to a 10 on the ACE, or Adverse Childhood Experience score, and have, considered my accomplishments thus far rather superhuman, as I've heard other people describe the efforts. So there we go. There's some art from that channel, Freeing Me, little bearded art, and a picture of Gandhi while we were writing the book and before we moved to Spain. And let's see what else we've got here. There's a picture of Guido, the Galgo. You'll see these two gentlemen behind me, but they're pretty quiet, thankfully, for the video, and they're kind of cut off, if memory serves here. Let's have a quick peek. Well, there's Guido, and Gandhi's got some health problems on one leg, but there he is, sort of tucked over there behind me. Anyways, so that's the Freeing Me channel. A little bit about myself. And again, if you're interested in, my personal political beliefs and so on, that'll be on another personal channel forthcoming. However, just before we blow this advertising industry to smithereens currently with respect to shattering old corrupt paradigms, I think it's important that we just discuss Incite for just a moment. And Incite, in fact, is a global think tank that my partner and I formed about 4 or 5 years ago, in fact, dedicated to unleashing human potential. And here at the UHP, Unleashing Human Potential, Incite channel, you're going to discover how potent and scalable methods in education, media, information, security, technology, and here today we're going to discuss the advertising sector, mean unfathomably powerful change, as well as better routing out and around arbitrary authority and corruption. Moreover, the honoring of each human being's inherent freedom and sovereignty, as well as the responsibilities and sacrifice that they demand in equal measure. Now, human potential itself is unleashing in new waves, and change makers, a favorite term of ours that is out there in the world, but we define as anybody working to unleash and at unleashing human potential of all kinds, are now uniting into what we also call WorldVoice. And if you're curious about WorldVoice, you can take a look at the WorldVoice video on our channel. And let me just pull that up for you guys, the Unleashing Human Potential channel. Oh, no, look, there's Freeing Me, excuse me. There we go. Okay, so there's the new channel. And if we just scooch back here, where is it? WorldVoice, explained, introduced, and unleashed. There you go. Quick video, well, relatively quick for this chatty guy. We might spend a bit more time together on this one today. We'll see how fast we can get through this information, probably about that 25 to 45 minute mark, but well worth it. For any of you big thinkers or anybody at all interested in making the world a better place or experiencing a better world, you find this pretty darn exciting, to be sure. Now, again, let's just pop that back over there. Okay, so back to Incite. One of the things that we're doing, WorldVoice itself is, could be summarized in burgeoning new effectiveness of humanity in so many different ways. Again, you can learn more in that video. One of the things that we're going to discuss, in this video and in all of these early videos, these foundational set at Insights Up, is sort of an irresistible call, if you will. A story that resonates to our core, that's ancient and also modern, taking on new forms. Even a term maybe you noticed the other video, Magna Carta 2019, is a term that we've given to the way that this story is evolving and the irresistible call itself. The time for humanity, and especially our change makers, to finally come together as one is now. And it's already happening. Certainly, that doesn't need us, but we're just trying to do our humble best at helping. Using new globally networked microphones, platforms, tools, decisive discourse, and direct action. Everybody is already part of WorldVoice, and anyone can be a change maker. The question is if you want to. Do you? Now, all that said, I'll just quickly cover off the two-part mission statement here at Incite, and then we'll dive into blowing this advertising industry into new, uncharted, healthier waters. Now, number one, it might be said that our mission is magnetic, creating magnets that pull at every last human being on the planet. Firstly, as an energetic force that brings the entire world together. And secondly, as another energetic force, magnetic, that can be used creatively and functionally in innumerable applications. More on that in other videos in another day, and perhaps in some ways, of course, today, but we'll just leave that as it stands for now. Secondly, to magnets as a magnifying lens, which first acts as an energetic force, of course, focusing our attention around the ideas and activities that are, in fact, unleashing human potential, as well as issues begging new and better solutions, i.e. some problems. Secondly, again, a magnifying lens can act as an energetic force that focuses and amplifies our efforts and our voice into lasers of efficacy, collaboration, and structure, namely WorldVoice, again, put simply. And we'll define that. We've defined that in that other video, so go check that out, which itself can be used creatively to address nearly all of humanity's full spectrum of activity and thought. Now, another way that we might look at this, just quickly in two quick sentences, a couple, be a magnetic force, again, and a magnifying glass, helping to focus the world's attention on all ideas and activities which are unleashing human potential. Just want to hammer that home. And then B, a little bit of a different way to say that, we're going to stitch together the world's change makers around one simple idea. This is the story. This is Magna Carta 2019. This is the irresistible call. You've known it forever. All of humanity has. All of our heroes certainly have worked. Biggest and baddest and best heroes that humanity has ever had have known these core principles, but now they're taking on new and even greater, grander form that will unleash even more freedoms and new horizons for the human race. Providing enough social proof, in effect, to both prompt again and then facilitate the nonviolent paradigm shifts we're discussing that the world's been waiting for, from unsustainable and corrupt ruling powers to sustainable self-governance. Now, does that sound unachievable to you? Well, you're going to want to check out our next video on the economic sector, Agora, global marketplace. And we're going to dive directly into that and nail it to the wall. But here today, we're going to quickly, and actually today's video should go a little bit quicker, we're just going to quickly identify how we can apply these principles and some others. There's another video on our Modus Operandi, which you probably want to check out, which I believe is titled The Way to... either way, you can check that out, find that later. Modus Operandi. I'll put a link to it below. So there's another key set of ideas and aspects to this. But let's dig into the advertising industry. What we're talking about today, again, as the title of this video no doubt spoke to, are advertising models for a new internet and a better world. New tools, models, platforms, initiatives, and solutions. One quick sentence: integrity in advertising and fixing the internet. Sound fun? Here we go. How does integrity-rich win relationships between internet users, advertisers, and content producers built on choice, privacy, and shared profits sound to you? Exciting, huh? So, if you're unfamiliar with these new global models, again, that Incite is assisting in introducing through these channels, we don't claim to own these ideas. We certainly have stolen them from all the best of human history and all the best alive today, as pretty much everybody else is doing with respect to progress. And, and assisting through these channels, firstly, you better buckle up, because these are the biggest ideas that the human race has birthed yet. And secondly, as I said, these aren't our ideas. We've certainly left our egos at the door long ago, which you may need to do as well, in fact. And most certainly, you're going to need to open your mind. With that said, lastly, you'll find much more information and detailed explanations of all the various key components and vernacular that we're using here. WorldVoice, collaborative institution, which is a key part of the Modus, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. More in the next video, and all over the place you'll find that term. The true, as well as the true, near incalculable breadth, potential, and reality of humanity's third ever revolution in information. That will, of course, take the human race hundreds of years, and certainly more, in fact, to even begin to comprehend the scope of. And Magna Carta, 2019, in those other videos on this channel, Unleashing Human Potential. Next, you'll find a fast understanding. You'll need today a fast understanding of a few of these critical and all new terms we'll be using, such as the collaborative institution. Another one will be setting the stage. Change maker, again, which we've defined differently for our purposes, is anyone unleashing human potential. And finally, the caveat is the use and abbreviation of our own name, Incite, as simply Incite. Maybe a bit of a pronunciation blend, but just for brevity's sake, and it's just one of those things that happens over years and years of doing the same thing. It's a great name, and by the way, we are the first in the world to ever use that name. And anybody else who's stolen it and using it, happy that you appreciate the term, and maybe you found it on your own, or maybe you were inspired by us, who knows. Eventually, perhaps we'll have some fun legal battles to retain sole ownership of that globally, but that's another story. And then lastly, the term modus operandi, which we've referred to before, which we just short form as modus for conversation's sake again. Now, all that said, hope you've buckled up. I gave you your warning. Grab your favorite beverage or whatever you need. Here we go. So everything we're discussing is applicable and discussed in these other videos again for other sectors of human activity and industry, for profit and not. Here we're going to discuss the applications as they apply to the global advertising industry, and these models will effectively, ethically serve the individual internet user and consumer in all of us, while also allowing the advertisers and industry itself to not only reclaim its integrity, and I think surpass any amount of it that it was ever able to exemplify, as well as the customer use and appreciation, reaching unseen heights in both profitability and success on all fronts, from all angles, in all opinions. Now, first off, no advertising on these new platforms and in these new models. No advertising should be the world's viewing default. Sounds awesome, right? Using YouTube, as we know, for an example, without signing in is preferable sometimes. But we all know that the ads, when doing so, if you don't use an ad blocker on YouTube, I don't know, but either way, normally a lot of us have our ad blockers when we're signed in and so on. And the ads are insanely bothersome when you're not signing in. And the internet's second largest burden on users, aside from censorship, could be said to be advertising. Aside from censorship and the threat of persecution, perhaps, tied to that. So using this new model again, without signing in, all these new models applied all over the internet in the advertising sector are going to mean and identifying yourself. So just banging onto the internet, any old cafe, tool, device, without identifying yourself means no ads, period. Awesome sauce, right? Now, however, your advantage in creating an account, signing in, and switching the advertising on for any length of time is simple. You now get paid. Sounds even more awesome, right? Okay, so like content providers, anyone that enjoys or works with the internet, certainly a lot, even a little, can now earn, a rightful share of the money that your online presence is currently generating for so many corporate, nonprofit, and state organizations. Plus, the content providers that you choose to support will now get paid extra as well. Now, I'm sure you love the sounds of that no advertising default mode, right? And bear in mind that the majority of the internet will quickly learn and fall in line, trading your privacy by way of cookies, tracking your data, browsing habits, all the heat mapping and so on, with the which is just, the way, for those of you who don't know that term, the way that you're using the various sites and so on. Heat mapping is a corporate term and set of tools that basically track, your mouse, your movements, all these types of sexy things. Now, that information is currently stolen, but it's worth money. So, you should be paid. Now, these new models, again, are going to give you, so all of your data, again, puts you in control over what to share, when, and with who. So specifically, this means that you can block any advertiser from certain aspects of your data, metrics, online record, and others that, of course, you share everything with if you choose. The more information you share, of course, the more you're going to earn. And same goes for the various ways that you choose to customize your experience, i.e. the way the internet platforms function, and your settings and so on, and all conceivable options for your many, many internet accounts. Now, bear in mind that you're also going to greatly assist and help the organizations you choose to share any of your valuable information with and data to improve not only their own value to the market, and in turn, I guess most importantly, but also internally, which is a good feeling if you like them and you're wanting to share with them and support them. Now, for example, think about how helpful the heat mapping we discussed in your data preference and feedback can be when laying out the internet's information into new connected platforms that will include not only all of Wikipedia-style encyclopedic information, but history itself, literature, art, and of course the world's legacy of all of our academic storehouses, such as the JSTORs of old, which currently have locked up behind pay gates all of humanity's legacy in this sense, which, who really does own our history, our information? Of course, that's all. That's your identity. That's you. That's ours. And it shouldn't be stolen or profited from in a private sense, right? So we're talking about unlocking all that. That's a super, a body of work itself, and a great set of platforms, globally connected, new initiatives that we discussed in the previous video under the information platform, which again you can find on our UHP Unleashing Human Potential channel here at Incite. So if that sounds amazing, go check it out and discover how that information sector itself, that was first and foremost. Information sector and economic sector could be considered, of course, the most paramount. Information certainly is paramount to all others, just like the information revolutions themselves. Number one, learning to write. Number two, the book, Gutenberg Press. And number three, this now information explosion by way of radio and television, which were quickly regulated, and now the internet, which is the biggest fight in the world for internet freedom. So, as we apply these things to the information sector, again, previously in that other video, we're creating a new connected super internet storehouse and set of real tools, unleashing information in the name of this third ever revolution in information for the whole world. And all information, again, nearly is our information to begin with, remember. Our history, our heritage, and your literal identity. Now, back to the advertising industry and your private user data. Understanding users' experiences and preferences for laying out all that information in huge connected new maps. I mean, think about Google's search function, how limited that is. And again, whether it's JSTOR, Wikipedia, history, these things aren't currently connected. So if you're looking for information, you really got to be diligent. You got to be very capable. And by golly, like everybody else who wants to build something, I just want to use these darn tools and get better tools for myself, as do so many others. So that's why we're partnering and forming new global initiatives and connected platforms and tools that actually work with all the best that's going on and not replace them, but connect them into bigger, newer things. But again, when we're laying out all this information, you can imagine going to Google or a new search bar, typing in information and seeing accessing all of this stuff in an easy way. That's complex. While huge connected maps of information, while zooming in to the tiniest details, and then of course zooming out to see the connections between subject matter. That's helpful and valuable information for all of us working to develop these tools if you share the data in terms of how you use it, how you might like to improve it, what you don't like, all those sorts of things that we can derive from heat mapping as well as your input voluntarily. And, monster benefits to everyone in the world. Using these bodies of information and platforms that become easier to understand and sort through, wouldn't you say? So data, like any other tool, like a hammer, can be used for evil, like hurting and killing people, or good, like building things, like houses, with respect to the hammer. Now, with tools like the advertising platforms and protocols we're discussing, we can all choose who, again, to share our information with on an individual advertiser scale. We can also evaluate, connect, and correct the advertisers of the world using platforms and processes that are fair, most importantly transparent, of course, and that give you the power to negotiate your own contracts with the entire world, with your data, your time, your voice, vote, and so much more. The potential here is really exponential, is beyond us even, generationally. I'll be dead before we figure it all out, and so will you and your kids and their kids, but we can do a lot already, and we can certainly see that. And so that's our role, right? If we can see it, we can do it. Let's do it. This is just the beginning, folks. Watch the whole suite of launch videos again, and watch the Magna Carta 2019 video twice, because it tells a lot of the whole story in a general sense, how each piece fits together into a dream bigger than going to space, bigger than any dream humanity has ever had, has ever shared. And this one can soon be shared by nearly every single human being alive, certainly everybody with an internet connection to start. And everyone with an internet connection is going to do the lion's share of the work to start, and rest assured, lift the rest of us up to online and thriving as best they can. Now, fixing the internet's a big idea, right? Integrity owns rightful credit as usual, along with all the best of us that have come before us and are bouncing around the world today. In addition to all the heroes, like we say, we're just simple messengers here at Incite. hopefully one of thousands of early co-founding nodes, of course, in some of these platforms. Okay, so again, we're not trying to own this stuff ourselves. These are just big ideas and initiatives that we already see happening and that we're wanting to really focus like lasers, magnets, the human attention and activity around. Now imagine, instead of that subway coupon, notification as you walk by the store feeling creepy, right? It becomes something that you asked to receive, so you can feel great about the convenience without feeling stolen from and spied on. Pretty cool, right? Or perhaps, who knows, maybe the world will choose to opt out of that sort of thing and consequently watch Subway and others soon avoid old manipulative models like yesterday's dead tactics must before spelling death, which is quickly. Now, let's discuss how this affects all of you content providers. These platforms and protocols will be especially loved by all stripes and shapes of content creators because, well, why? They're going to earn more money. Great. Plus, we can all feel great acting with integrity while building stronger connections with our audiences, with your supporters, by empowering them to earn money as well, just by supporting you. Most important, in many ways, if your work is your pure curiosity, art, passion, and professionalism, and politics or censorship was getting in the way from those kinds of media creators and journalists, authors, academics, educators, filmmakers, radio hosts, public intellectuals, and content creators of all kinds, if evil and corruption was getting in the way of your work, these platforms, of course, are being made especially for you. Lastly, let's think, boy, we slammed through this pretty quickly here. So lastly, let's think about the world's advertisers themselves. What will y'all appreciate? And how will this affect you? Well, how about more traffic, no more political headaches, and a much richer ROI? You'll appreciate policies and procedure guaranteed to replace previously unavoidable industry conflicts with faster, easier, and more profitable advertising. Now, better economic and service models for advertisers, content producers, and internet users creates market advantages and benefits for all three parties. Now, a side note with some serious thought, your business, brand, and bottom line all win big when you support winning ideas early on. Wouldn't you say? So, and of course, conversely, when we wait and lose growth, opportunity, and profits basically every single day, while prices steadily rise alongside the power of your competition who took advantage early. So if you like the sounds of these ideas, get in touch with us and all the rest of the world that's working together on revolutionizing the advertising industry as well as the global economic and marketplace, which is, of course, innately tied to this discussion. And in fact, we've opened a lot of doors that perhaps, you're already, minds churning about and so on. But a lot of those questions are going to be answered in full form in the next video, which is, again, going out probably within a 24-hour period of this one, or if not less. So check them both out. Now, in closing, no matter who you are, do you want to help fix the internet and get paid doing it? And advertisers, how does more traffic, higher ROI, and fixing your brand's image to include honesty and integrity sound? You can now turn all the manipulation and hatred that you've rightfully earned, stealing data and identity, history, and information from the world, and turn it on its head and right into profits by way of permission-based advertising, which is also immune to politics and corruption. Whoa. Big stuff, big ideas. Okay, so to everyone who currently benefits from the corruption at play, you can build stronger relationships with your tribe now and the entire world using real integrity. Let's all leave our politics at the door. It doesn't matter what you believe. I'm sure we can all agree that these are good ideas no matter where you stand. And let's start making unheard of, honest money on advertising. Pretty cool. Fixing the internet with integrity in advertising. Pretty simple. Now, a global advertising platform dedicated to providing new win-win-win relationships, again, between internet users, content providers, and advertisers, built on choice, privacy, and shared profits, using transparency, technology, and the applied principles of virtue and freedom. That's it, folks. If you like this stuff, again, check out the other videos on this brand new channel. Share and share and share around. And of course, go to our Patreon, which is also linked, and chuck us a couple shekels, couple bucks. It sure would help us in our own way, humble way, expedite our efforts. And, as messengers, as a humble wordsmith, working in some ways to help deprogram Orwellian doublespeak and, help forward all of the coolest ideas that are unleashing human potential. Please, if you like the work that we do, toss us a couple of bucks. There's new websites with all new swag and t-shirts and things like that are coming up right away as well. So that's another great way to support us. But for now, we've just got the Patreon page, PayPal accounts, and so on. So, make sure that you donate a couple of bucks if you can afford it. And if not, then please just share around. Share this stuff on every platform out there. Thanks for spending time with us today, guys. And if you're curious to learn more about even the difference between greyhounds and galgos, Gandhi's 11, Guido's about 4, I don't know, adopted them both. And, I guess their age is a little nebulous due to that. But either way, I love that we got a good video coming out on Freeing Me that just talks about that. Got other cool videos on that channel, Freeing Me, for all types of people, women, men. In fact, I got a great video on how to create a resume and some fantastic tips for any of you mothers out there who are now re-entering the workforce, whether you're a single mother, whether you've got a great partner who's supporting you and you just want to get back out there and make your impact in the world or make a couple extra bucks yourself. Doesn't matter. I know it can be a bit intimidating. I've certainly helped a lot of people in my life, not just, with words themselves, but certainly with their resumes. And I thought one of the things that we're going to be doing immediately right off the hop on that Freeing Me channel is a quick little tutorial and an example from my own family, helping my own, I got 5 sisters, and one of them is just re-entering the workforce, and we're going to block out all of our information and stuff, personal stuff, but, some of the body of the information, leveraging my own creative skills and capacities, as well as wordsmithing capacities for somebody that I love almost more than anyone else on the planet, of course, has been really rewarding for me, really rewarding for her. It's been a huge confidence boost. And I think there's some pretty creative ideas you're going to find incredibly valuable. Not in both of those senses. 1, building up your confidence, and 2, securing the position that you really deserve. And with that said, I guess that's it for today. Again, thanks for spending time with us. My name is Chris Hampton. You're watching Unleashing Human Potential with Incite. And I hope you all have a wonderful day, night, wherever you happen to be in the world. And also, of course, I guess, expatriate life, blah, 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 living in Spain. Oh, one last thing I wanted to talk about, I suppose, was just the reality of being a Canadian. What does it mean, politically? And that's one intro into the politics channel. If you're interested in my own politics, where I come from, I'm not really, leaning really hard left, right these days. I've always, for a lot of years, thought that a lot of that stuff was bull honky, we might say. But I think that you'll find a fresh, insightful view on a lot of political ideas, as well as a, really interesting honest take on this Canadian's journey from certainly some radical leftist influence and ideas that, were quite pervasive in their effect on my life and so on, as well as some radical ideas from the right and everywhere in between, whether they be radical or just, unhealthy or evolving, because hopefully, like the rest of you, I'm constantly changing my mind on things when presented with new evidence. And I have to say, even when it comes to the book, this has got 600 references in it, 300 plus quotes. It's got tons of great links and videos, therein. But it's, 130,000 plus words across the spectrum of human experience, from legal systems, medical systems, religious systems, and ideas as well, not just the infrastructure and institutions. Education, economy. It goes on and on and on. Really fun stuff. Great book. Get your free copy in the description below. And once again, another great way to support us. If you like the work, if you like the stuff that we're giving away, then please, please, please buy some paper. Support us. Thank you. We'll see you next time.